And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with the Game Boy Geek.
Hello my friends, it's the Game Boy Geek here. Today we're going underground with some drilling power. We've got some buddies, we're gonna bring some contractors, we are gonna be bribing other companies to come with us to drill down further to the center of the earth through subterranean layers. We're gonna be getting all sorts of cool stuff like zinc, copper, gold, all sorts of fun stuff. There might be some explosions. We're looking at a medium to, I'd say even a medium heavy Euro game with some interaction. It's very interesting, called Rockwell. This is from Sit Down, but it looks like possibly it might be coming to the US through Game Salute. It's for 2 to 4 players. Let's show you how it's played. There's a lot to this game, and I'll see you on the other side. At the beginning of Rockwell, you get to pick your corporation that they have acquired. You could be the Copper Plates or the Purple guys. You could be Zinco Corp, the green guys. You can be Mech Silvers, the white guys. Or you can be Goldman, the red guys. Pretty cool shields that you'll be placing resources underneath. After you've selected your company and color, you also get a player board of that color. These boards are flippable depending on the amount of people that are there, and it's sort of set up like this to do things later in your turn. And behind your shield, you start with some resources like zinc, copper, silver, and $3,000. Now look at this. Holy components, Batman. We've got resources on the left, cards, people, boards, achievement tiles. There are a lot of pieces in this game. Let's show you how it's played. The majority of the game will take place here, where you'll be working together to drill down through to the center of the earth, bringing up and mining resources of different types, and then using them to gain points and get different achievements. So let's talk about how a round works in general, and then we'll jump back to this area. The game's going to be played over 3 phases, 1, 2, 3, and we'll keep doing those phases till the end of the game. Let's concentrate on the first phase. Every round starts with an auction to see which place your management cubes are going to go. So they're randomly assigned at first, and everyone does an auction. They can auction either money or resources or any combination, and from left to right, whoever has the highest auction going down, this goes this. This order tells you in what order you're going to place your vice presidents. So you have these little vice presidents. It's going to be sort of a worker placement section of the game, where the vice presidents are going to be placed in different areas, one at a time, based upon this turn order here. At the end of the worker placement, you'll have some people on all 3 boards, and then we get ready to go through the rest of the round. So staying in phase 1 here, the order that these presidents go from, vice presidents go from here left to right in this order, is the order that these go here. So now we have left to right that matches the order of the vice presidents. This is the order that everything's going to happen during the main part of the game, which is this drilling phase here. So the first thing we do is you can buy insurance. Well, bad things can happen, so you can buy insurance. So essentially, each one, you can trade any resource that you want for one of these headlamps, which is insurance, and you put them behind your screen. Now this is how much each resource costs. So if you have a zinc, which is zinc, copper, silver, gold, if you have zinc, hey, it's $400 to buy each insurance. You can buy as many as you want, and you'll probably need it for later. After insurance is bought, we are going to move to the first moving phase, or drilling phase, where in this order, people are going to move their people around the board. So in that player order, people are going to move. They could just move one spot, and then it's pretty much the next player's turn. So maybe they all kind of sort of start moving. Maybe this one times up here, and maybe green moves here, and then red moves there. And that would be the end of the first round of the drilling phase, because they've all sort of moved. Now we'll go to the second, and essentially we do 4 turns of that drilling phase until the end of this end of the first phase of the game. Now we look at the left side, the right side of this board. This left side allows these colors to possibly bribe people to come with them. There's 3 total bribes per round that can get used. And on this side, you could actually hire these subcontractors to give you more power. Let's show you how these work. So say it's white's turn to move. We see this is 4, which means you have to have a total of 4 drilling power in order to extract there in the earth. Now let's say white moved here. Now white was one of the ones that could possibly bribe. So they'd take one of these bribe tokens of the 3 that's in the round. They'd use it. They could bribe anybody from a different team that's one adjacent to them to move in with them. Now you can never usually bribe someone from the mine shaft, but let's say this person was over here by himself. This person got to bribe him in here, and that triggers an extraction because there's a total of 4, and this one only needs 4. We would then get the card 4, because that's the extraction number we got, and we would see what resources we get. So this brought up 5 silver, 3 zinc, 2 copper. Now how this works is they get split out to the 4 different people that are on this tile evenly as possible, and then any remainders sort of go in the middle. So in this case, there's 4 people on this tile, 4 different ones. So there's enough silver to go around, but there's not enough zinc or not enough copper, and there's extra silver that can't go all the way around again. So all this remainder is going to go to what's called the priority player. There's 3 ways to go about priority players. Is one, if somebody has a mine shaft on there, they get first priority, which is kind of a rare thing to have in the game. The second one would be is who has the highest drilling power. Everyone's 1, but maybe sometime later in the game, someone might have had, a second one on a higher one. Then purple would have 2. In this case, they're all tied. And if they're all tied and there's no mine shaft, then it's the person who caused the extraction. In this case, it was white. He went there and then bribed purple to come in, so white caused the extraction. So white's going to get his share, and then all the remainder, where the other 3 players are only going to get that. Woo, it really pays off to be the priority player, although you are working together to get things done. There's some bad cards. Some of the cards might have an explosion on it. We talked to you about insurance earlier. The reason why you buy insurance is if this card comes up, you would lose one of the best resources that you would get for every 1 drilling power. So right now we're all 1s, and everybody would basically lose the best cube that they would get, resource, if they didn't have insurance, or you can turn it in for each one you would have lost. So those are some bad things and why you want insurance. And so once that's sort of scored, the card goes to the person who actually caused the extraction. In this case, it's the same person who had priority. They would keep this card for later scoring. Those resources would go behind the screens, and then this would sort of get flipped over like this. Pretty cool. The earth you got to start to see, and then this shaft, this mine thing will always give 2 copper to people, because later in the game you can buy mine shafts, and whoever has a mine shaft will get these every round. So that's an extraction, how that works. As you see, as the game goes on, you'll be going deeper and deeper in. This one would need a 7, this one would need a 9, and so on and so forth, and they obviously get a lot better, usually as you go inside. But that's how it happens, is as things get stronger, you get more stuff from going deeper in. So we saw that purple or white could use the bribe. Red and green this round can use some subcontractors. So let's say red's already here. This is 3. Green moves in, and he hires a subcontractor, because he can do that. And essentially he could use this, and he has to spend money, $1,000 in this case, to get a subcontractor of 1. And now this person, 1, 2, 3, would cause an extraction here, and green would be the one with the priority because they actually have more power. This would get extracted and it would do the same thing. And the subcontractor essentially gets paid every time it gets moved. And as you go in, they get more and more expensive depending on the ring that you're bringing them to. So essentially it's aided help. After 4 rounds of drilling for that phase, anybody that has a mine shaft can get those resources. We'll talk about getting those later. And then we move on to phase 2, which essentially is the stock market. And essentially here we have purple and red were the ones that went here. They can buy or sell these different resources, and these are the fixed prices throughout the game. And so purple might say, hey, I'm going to sell 2 zinc, and they're 400 each, I'll get $800. And then red might say, you know what, I'm going to buy 2 copper for $1,200, and they would get resources. So you're either buying or selling. You can only buy or sell the same resource once per sort of phase here, but the person that goes there earlier gets more moves, less moves, and less moves, and so you're buying and selling, either turning resources into money or money into resources. And phase 3 is the workshop. It's set up sort of similar. Green would get 4 moves, white would get 3 moves. They alternate. Now we see these orders here, and they're all the same between the different types of resources again. And what happens is you can trade in resources and spend them, put them back in the bank, and depending on the tiles, in this case you'd need 8 copper and you'd get 2 stars, and stars are points. And as it goes down, 7, 6, 5, 4, so as the game goes on you need less, but then there's less points available as well. So these are sort of interesting ways to get points, turning resources in for points. That's one of the moves you can do here. The other thing you can do is upgrade yourself in 4 different ways with mine shafts, insurance, moving, and power of drilling. So let's look at that on our player board. We talked about mine shafts. For one of those actions, you can buy your first one for 1,500, second one for 2,000, third one for 2,500 in this case, and they get slightly more powerful. For example, the last one you can place anywhere, and there's some placement restrictions on the earlier ones. They get better as they're more expensive, and of course those allow you to get priority, and they let you get resources out of those mine shafts at the end of every round, which is pretty good. This is insurance that you can upgrade to for an action and money. For example, instead of buying those insurance little things at the beginning of the round, as I showed you, this always gives you an insurance of 1. It's $1,500, but you always have at least insurance to save your best resource that you would have gotten if an explosion happens. And of course, then you have one that would save you the first 3 for 2,000. And then the biggest one is you could never get hurt, but it's 2,500. And you have to upgrade them one at a time. Pretty much all this stuff goes one at a time. Then we have movements. You start here, you can move one place anyway. You can spend $1,500 and now you can move 2 left or right, 1 up and down. The next one allows you to hover between 2 different spots, which allows you to easily be an extraction piece for one or the other ways. It just gives you more flexibility. And then for 2,500, and it's all, again, every time you move, you have to pay that amount. And so here it's you'd be able to move 2 anywhere. This gives us different drilling power. So we start with 1. If we spend $1,500, we can move one of those to a 2. We can go from a 2 to a 3 for that amount, and from a 3 to a 4. So it's, again, upgrading in 4 different areas is what you can do at that workshop. There's also achievements that at any point in the game, once you have gotten any of these, you don't actually spend the resources. You just show everybody you have what you need, and you grab these, and you're really rewarded for getting to these early. There's 3 of them. The top 3 are a little easier, and there's 4 of them. They start with 4 points, 3 points, 2 points, and 1 point. So again, you're rewarded for getting the things quickly in this game. And there are things like, hey, you get 6 extraction cards, which you get those for being the person that caused the extraction. And if you have 8 of those 2, 10 of these, here if you have 3 guys going to the 3rd center of the earth, the third subterranean tile, 12 gold, 3 drillers of 2, the first one to the middle of the earth, 2 guys that are power of 4, and then lots of resources. So once you get these, you pull them, and you can see these ones start at 4, these ones start at 5, and these ones start at 6, so they're harder. And part of this can be how the end of the game's triggered. So you continue doing this, all these 3 phases, as I just showed you, until one of 2 things happens. Either somebody has one of each of these 3 hardest ones and any other 3, so a total of 6, but having these 3, or if 2 different players have gotten to the center of the earth, that causes an end. We then tally up a couple more points here. For every resource of the 4 resources, the one who has the most will get 2 points. The one who has the second most will get 1 point. You do that for all 4 resources. Then you'll count up all your money, all your resources, and the one that has the most is the winner. All right, well, there's Rockwell. Wow. This game blew our doors off. A pun possibly halfway intended. Whoa. This is the type of Euro game that I really, really love. It is excellent. It is magnificent. It's very thematic. Everything you do makes thematic sense. The artwork is awesome. The components are awesome. You don't feel like you're just pushing cubes around all day. It's very unique. I don't think I've played anything quite like it before. Sure, there's a little bit of auction component and a little bit of worker placement, but that's just a tiny part of the game. The really majority of it is figuring out where you're going to drill and where you're going to go. And some people can bribe you and bring you in and make an extraction happen, and you may or may not want that to happen. A lot of times you do, but sometimes you don't. You're working with each other and against each other at the same time. Sometimes you're going to be working with one player and then not with somebody else and later with them. It's just really cool, that interaction. And then also the subcontractors. Hey, you can go off on your own a little bit and maybe grab 2 of your workers and pay a subcontractor, and you can get all the stuff yourself. So many different paths to go. So much to think about. And then that's just to get the resources. And then once you have them, your brain's going to explode. It's like, okay, now that I've got them, do I sell my resources to get money so that then I can do upgrades at the workshop? Or do I give money to get resources to then fulfill those orders at the workshop? And then you have all these achievements that you're trying to get to, and which one should I get to? And you're rewarded for doing things fast and the quickest. And whew, I gotta take a breath. This game's awesome. It's layer upon layer. There's tons to think about. I think it's a medium-heavy Euro, but I love it. Interaction's great. This game's awesome. It's so unique. It's so cool to see something completely different and very unique. And I think he's a first-time designer, Bruno. Great job. It's blowing my mind. If I had played this before I did my 2013 best of list, this would have made the top 10 list for sure. For me, super high on this game. If I'm gonna nitpick, let's find some things I don't like about it. Little thing number 1, the gold cubes are orange, not gold, not yellow like the books shows. It looks like it was a little mishap in assembly. Again, I'm nitpicking here. The other thing is, this game takes forever to set up. Holy crap, there's so many pieces to this game. The components, there's just bits and pieces and tiles everywhere. It takes like 15, 20 minutes to set the stupid game up. Like, what? Of course, not a stupid game, but I mean, it takes a while. You better need some help, because it takes a while. We were setting up the first time, and I was like, this better be worth it. And I'm just glad to say that it is, because even though it takes forever to set up, I don't mind it because the game's awesome. Check out Rockwell.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.